What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So let's actually go over a few things very quick for your Friday news. First off, President Biden is planning on increasing the oil royalty rate. I want to address what that is, why that's important, and what this means for oil moving forward. I want to address how eggs are actually increasing in price, which isn't a really good news, but at the same time, we've kind of been seeing the writing on the wall. And then also talk about how or what President Biden is doing to actually lower inflation. So let's get right down to it. First, Democrats have been saying for months that President Biden is working on lowering inflation. But all the reports that I'm seeing, they all report and indicate that this is not what's happening. This is not what he's doing, and I will explain that in just a minute. We also know that due to the bird flu recently, we are about to see the price of eggs, poultry, and chicks even increase in price. Some expect that this is actually going to further increase the cost past the national average of about $2.50 for a dozen eggs. Last year alone, it was for a dozen eggs, it was $1.60 for 12 eggs. But again, things are increasing all across the United States. And let me know down in the comment section below, how much are a dozen eggs where you live? Now, the Biden administration also plans to increase the royalty rate for new gas drilling leases. Now, the jump will be 50%. It's going to go from the original royalty rate of 12.5% up to 18.75%. Now, according to reports, the Biden administration wants to increase rates to help fund climate change. Okay? Now, which again, I think this is very interesting because, again, let's clarify this. We want to increase onshore sales and drilling, but we're going to charge more for royalties so that we can then use those funds to fund the climate change initiative. Does that seem off to anybody? Or maybe am I just looking at it the wrong way? Okay, and I understand we have to continue to produce oil. We can't just go all EV, right? That would create other issues. But again, it just seems off to me. Now, what you also need to keep in mind is that the Biden administration is actually planning on leasing 225 square miles of federal lands. Now, this is going to be offered in a notice that's going to be posted this coming Monday. But, and here's the big thing, this amount of land is actually, it's 30% less of what officials proposed back in November, and it's 80% less land than what was originally proposed by the industry. So this is a substantial cut. Now, again, the sales notices are going to cover leasing decisions in 9 states, and these states are including Wyoming, Colorado, Utah, New Mexico, Montana, Alabama, Nevada, North Dakota, and Oklahoma. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what really happens with this. We've seen Republicans push to get more drilling. Okay, we've seen that. Let's offer more land. That's what we've been seeing. We've also been seeing a push from Democrats just recently. Hey, President Biden, let's do a little bit more, right? We're starting to get hammered in the polls. Let's do a little bit more. So, according to reports, that's exactly what he's planning on doing. So I will have more on that this coming week once these notices actually do get released. Now, let's get back to the price of poultry and eggs, because the prices recently, they have just continued to rise. And the prices are continuing to rise with the recent bird flu outbreak that we saw over on the East Coast. And because of that, many people have actually turned to trying to provide for themselves. Now, I'm all for this. I'm not a great gardener. I know a lot of people that are. A lot of people that are very good at gardening and producing their own fruit or even their own poultry, right? Or vegetables. I'm not one of those people. But I do understand the principles behind it. I do understand how to get there. Now, a lot of people that I know have actually opted to raise their own chicks, produce their own eggs, and kind of go along that route, which I think is a great thing to do right now, especially when prices are rising so rapidly for food. But at the same time, you got to understand that sometimes the prices that you pay once you add it all up, they actually cost more money. And according to a recent report, and I actually was looking into this because somebody commented, and again, I ask you guys to comment all the time. Somebody commented and said, I actually did try to raise my own chicks to produce eggs, and it was more expensive. And according to reports, it is actually more expensive than buying directly from the stores at this time. Here's the reason why. What we're hearing is that buying chicks is getting more expensive if you can even find them. Buying feed now costs more money, and then you add in shelter, you add in vet bills and other miscellaneous costs as well, and everything is just more expensive. And the problem is that many, kind of homegrown farmers, kind of the new farmers, they're saying that they don't realize the true cost of what it costs to even get into this until after it's too late. And by that time, it's too late, they can't stop, or else they just throw all their money away. So that's the issue there. So again, if you guys are buying eggs, okay, and there's a really good video. One of my friends, the Riverside Homestead Life channel over on YouTube, he talks about where you can store eggs. Now again, I'm not big on any of this stuff. I don't know a lot of this stuff. He does, and so I'll put a link to one of his videos. Talks about storing eggs. So if you want to go and do that, I highly recommend you do. Again, don't ask me. Go and ask him. He's the expert there. All right. But let's get into what President Biden is doing. But let's specifically talk about what President Biden is trying to do to lower inflation, because according to multiple economists, he's doing nothing. The plan was never for President Biden to do anything, according to many reports. He wasn't trying to lower inflation himself. The hope amongst Democrats was actually pretty simple. Let's get inflation to break without President Biden forcing his hand and breaking and really trying to abandon some of his key political principles. That was the plan. And Republicans have played a very good game for them, is they're forcing President Biden to make a decision. Do I let inflation run, or do I abandon my principles and try to combat inflation? Well, we know gas prices are up 50% year over year, but President Biden doesn't want to do too much there to lower the price of gas and bring inflation down. If he did, according to reports, it would actually hurt his numbers amongst Democrats and voters. Could he do the gas tax holiday? Yeah. Would that really benefit the American people? Not really. And it could actually hurt him down the road. So he doesn't want to do that. Biden has planned a release of 180 million barrels of oil, though, and this is going to lower the prices of gas. But outside of this, inflation is going to continue to run no matter what is done. So right now, the expectation is the Federal Reserve is the only one that's going to lower inflation. So anytime you see President Biden lowers inflation, President Biden did this, really the Federal Reserve is the one that's going to do that. President Biden is pretty much just going to sit back and watch, because if he does make a move, it could hurt Democrats for the midterm elections, and it could really hurt him in the 2024 elections if he does decide to run again, which all indications say that he will run again. So that's what we know at this time. Again, as always, as I know more, promise I'll come back on, share all latest news and updates. Again, just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your Friday. Have an incredible weekend as well. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.